Hello children and welcome to Study with Sudhir, your digital classroom. And if you have not subscribed to the channel till now, please do so and also press on the bell icon so that you can get regular updates. This is part 2 of our explanation of all summer in a day. So before you start with part 2, please ensure that you have gone through part 1 because that talks about the first half of this particular story. A little more than half of the story we have covered. We will finish the story and then we will look at the explanation of this very fascinating story. And as I always say, do not go for the shortcut of just listening to the gist, because that's not how you get marks in the English paper, because you will be tested on your understanding, on how well you have read the story or the poem and understood the various themes of the story. Just listening to a shortcut gist, it's almost like what they say in Hindi, a kunji. You know, you are not here to read guides. We are here to understand, enjoy, appreciate English literature or literature in any subject, and then get to understand the various narratives, the various themes that the author or the poet has said. So my request to you once again, do not go in for shortcuts, go through the entire explanation. So please see the video of the part 1 of All Summer in a Day and then come to part 2, All Summer in a Day. So we had stopped at the point when the sun came out on planet Venus, right? So the sun has come out and now we will see the kind of transformation that has taken place on this wonderful planet called Venus. Wonderful? I think the earth is much more wonderful, right? Because on Venus, what happens? It only rains for 7 long years, and it's only for an hour or so that this sun comes out, almost providing a great relief to the children out there who are the children of scientists who are there to set up civilization. So it's a very fascinating story of science fiction that Ray Douglas Bradbury has created, All Summer in a Day. Now you look at the title, now that you have gone through part 1 and you look at the title, All Summer in a Day. Summer is when the sun is blazing and the entire summer is compressed in just one day, even in a day in just about an hour or so. So look at the significance of the title, and that may come as a question in your examination also. What does the title convey? That all summer is in one particular day as a natural phenomena, and we'll also explain as to what does the word summer really mean? What is the kind of transformation that it brings about in the lives of all these children on planet Venus? So the sun came out. It was the color of flaming bronze and it was very large. And the sky around, it was a blazing blue tile color. Look at the way he has described. Please underline these key words: flaming bronze, blazing blue tile color. And the jungle burnt with sunlight as the children, released from their spell, rushed out yelling into the springtime, because this is the only time they can actually go out when it's not raining, so that they don't get wet. So they rush out to see and experience the sun in all its glory. Now don't go too far, call the teacher after them. So she is worried because she wouldn't want the children to wander so much. Why? Because there are forests and there's a lot of vegetation and foliage, so she wouldn't want them to get lost somewhere there in the wilderness, right? So she is concerned about the safety of those children as well. You have only 2 hours. So in this case, earlier 7 years ago, the sun had come out for 1 hour. But now the teacher says that it's quite possible that the sun may stay for 2 hours. So she says you have only 2 hours, you know. You wouldn't want to get caught out. Caught out as in get caught in the rain again, right? But they were running and turning their faces up to the sky and feeling the sun on their cheeks. All of us have felt it. When it is summer or any other normal day also, you look up, you can feel the sun, the heat, the warmth on your cheeks, right? Which is why many of us put sun lotion so that we don't get sunburned, right? Tell this to the people on Venus. They want the sun. They're enjoying getting tanned. So they were running and turning their faces up to the sky and feeling the sun on their cheeks like a warm iron. Warm iron. They were taking off their jackets and letting the sun burn their arms. They wanted to feel the heat, the warmth on their skin, because that is something which they had never ever experienced. The warm sensation. Oh, it's better than the sun lamps, isn't it? So they know the sun lamps, which they must have used inside in order to illuminate their classrooms or inside their homes. So they are familiar with the sun lamps, but they feel that the natural sunlight is so much better. So one of them exclaims, it's better than the sun lamps. So the sun now being compared. So the next time probably they write an essay about the sun, they will probably make a comparison and say that it's better than the sun lamps. Much, much better. They stopped running and stood in the great jungle that covered Venus, that grew and never stopped growing, tumultuously even as you watched it. Rain, the forest, it's almost like tumultuous kind of feeling, something which kind of has a sense of being uncontrollable, tumultuous. It was a nest of octopi, clustering up great arms of flesh like weed. Octopi, the plural of octopus, which has about 8 arms, wavering, flowering in this brief spring. It was the color of rubber and ash because there is no sun, there is no photosynthesis. So you can imagine that the color of all that vegetation on Venus would be very different from the color of the vegetation that we find on Earth, because there is photosynthesis here. There is no photosynthesis there because there is no natural sunlight. This jungle from the many years without sun, so it was the color of rubber and ash, grey in color. It was the color of stones and white cheeses and inks, and it was the color of the moon. The children lay out laughing on the jungle mattress. Jungle mattress. Look at the choice of words. Look at the choice of words by Ray Bradbury. And heard it sigh and squeak under them, resilient and alive. They ran among the trees, they slipped and fell, they pushed each other, they played hide and seek and tag, but most of all, they squinted at the sun until the tears ran down their faces because they were so excited about experiencing something which they had not experienced for 7 years. And the last time they must have seen it when they were 2 years old. Obviously, they were too young to even enjoy and understand the natural phenomenon. They put their hands up to all that yellowness and that amazing blueness, and they breathed of the fresh air and listened to the silence. Keyword, silence, which suspended them in a blessed sea of no sound and no motion. They looked at everything and savored everything. Then wildly like animals escaped from their caves, they ran and ran in shouting circles. They ran for an hour and did not stop running. So it conveys a lot of joy. It conveys a lot of gay abandon. So that's a kind of an imagery that the author has actually described in this particular paragraph. And then in the midst of all that running, one of the girls wailed. Wailed. Important key word. As opposed to the joy in the previous paragraph. Wildly, like animals, they ran and ran in shouting circles. Use of the word wailed. Wailed as in cried long, uncontrollably. Everyone stopped. The girl standing in the open held out her hand. Oh, look, she said, trembling. They came slowly to look at her open palm. In the center of it, cupped and huge, was a single raindrop. The rain had come back. It had made its appearance again. She began to cry looking at it. She hated the rain at that particular point in time. Like who? Like Margot does. Because now the girl, like the others, had also experienced the sun. They hated the rain. Just like Margot did not identify with the rain so much that she did not even like to take bath in the school showers. She hated the water. Oh, a few cold drops fell on their noses and their cheeks and their mouths. The sun faded behind a stir of mist. A wind blew cold around them. They turned and started to walk back toward the underground house, their hands at their sides, their smiles vanishing away. A boom of thunder startled them, and like leaves before a new hurricane, they tumbled upon each other and ran. Lightning struck 10 miles away, 5 miles away, a mile, a half mile. That is, it's coming closer. From 10 miles, 5 miles, a mile, a half mile, the sky darkened into midnight in a flash. It was all dark because there was no sunlight anymore, right? So the sun had faded, the rain started again, the wind started blowing, and the lightning struck close to them. They stood in the doorway of the underground for a moment until it was raining hard. The magic, in a sense, was over. The magic of sunlight was over. Then they closed the door and heard the gigantic sound of the rain falling in tons and avalanches everywhere and forever. The word avalanche has made a comeback. The sound apparatus was switched on all over again. Will it be 7 more years? Yes, 7. Then one of them gave a little cry. Margot. What? She's still in the closet where we locked her. Margot. They stood as if someone had driven them like so many stakes into the floor. They looked at each other and then looked away. They glanced out at the world that was raining now and raining steadily. They could not meet each other's glances. Their faces were solemn and pale. They looked at their hands and feet, their faces down. They could not look at Margot in the eye because they were so ashamed of what they had done to their classmate. They were guilty. They were feeling extremely guilty. Margot, one of the girls said, well, no one moved. Go on. They walked down slowly down the hall in the sound of cold rain. They turned through the doorway to the room in the sound of the storm and thunder, lightning on their faces, blue and terrible. They walked over to the closet door slowly and stood by it. Behind the closet door was only silence. They unlocked the door even more slowly and let Margot out. So the Margot comes out without experiencing the sun. After 5 years, the last she had experienced was when she was in Ohio in the USA, and the children bringing their classmate out. Okay. Now, it's not just about an hour or so of rain and the children missing the rain. Ray Bradbury has actually conveyed a lot through this transformation from rain to sunlight to rain all over again. Let's go through what are the themes that he has focused on. Now, the sun has made a guest appearance after 7 years on the planet Venus, and the overwhelming rain on Venus has actually, if you see the description, it has actually created a very harsh and a very difficult and inhospitable environment of sorts, where everything is grey and rubber colored, not green like it is the way on Earth. So it is very different. It is very different from the way life on Earth is. Life on Venus is very different from the way life on Earth is. But then the anticipation that the sun is going to make an appearance, it creates a very chaotic sense of excitement among the children. It's chaotic, but they're also a little anxious because they hope that the sun is definitely going to keep its time on that particular appointed day. Now, as far as Margot is concerned, now her problem is that she is very fixated. She is very obsessed with her memories of the sun. As opposed to these other children, she is very obsessed with the sun, so obsessed that she only takes part in classroom discussions or classroom activities which have anything to do with sun or summer in it. So it also kind of highlights that she has a bit of a privilege over the other children because she is the only one to have experienced the sun and sunlight and summer in her life. So she has memories which the other children do not have, as a result of which she feels privileged, she feels superior, but the other children, it leads to a sense of resentment, as a result of which they have an inferiority complex, which in turn leads them into becoming bullies because they feel deprived of the kind of memory that Margot has, and that in turn converts them into a bully, and they want to punish her for having something which they do not have. Understand? And this sets up this reflects in the kind of jealousy, the feeling of envy that the children have towards Margot. Now, as far as bullying is concerned, if you have to explain this bullying in a little more detail, now William in this particular story, who is our only other character apart from Margot who has been identified by name, the teacher's name has not been given. William's actions are motivated by the fact that Margot has special knowledge of the sun and the summer, and that allows her to write poems in great detail because she has memories which the other children do not have, right? And the children are jealous that the Margot has such experiences, which is why they say every time she speaks about the sun, they claim that she is actually lying. They want to put her down. They know that she is the only one who has experienced sun till the age of 4, as opposed to them who have experienced it for an hour when they were just 2 years old, toddlers, infants. But she has better memory of the sun. So they want to put her down, which is why they accuse her of lying every time she speaks about the sun and the summer. We also see the kind of power that the sun has over Margot. Children, I would request you to pause the video every time you want to kind of take down these notes, because these are important points and I would want you to take down exhaustive notes in your notebook. So pause the video, rewind, listen to it again, but ensure that whatever I'm saying, use these particular words, because it will only make your answers look better, also help you understand the story much better. Okay. So in this particular scene, we also see that the son's power over the personality of Margot, because she's kind of has slightly romantic notions about the son. You know, she feels very good and positive about the son, and she's able to articulate herself, come out of her shell only when the discussion is about the sun or the summer. But at the same time, this is also very important, that life away from sun has had a negative effect, a negative impact on Margot. It reflects in her physical complexion, because it has drained away the blue from her eyes, the red from her mouth and the yellow from her hair. She looks like an old photograph from a photo album. Her voice is like that of a ghost. So in that sense, without the effect of the sun on her skin, it has had a negative impact on the way she looks, on her personality itself. So it has had a draining effect in terms of physical appearance on Margot. What impact has the lack of sun or lack of exposure to the sun had on other children? It has made them negative, it has made them less civil, right? So we always talk about how the sun is the best antiseptic. You know, when it is continuously raining or very cold, when the sun comes, you always feel good. The sun is a bundle of positive energy. It is the best antiseptic. Without this positive energy in their life, the children are less civil, they are rude, they are bullies, they are negative, and that is what is the effect of sun. The positive energy that the sun has, it is what the children are deprived of while they are living on planet Venus. Now, it is the phrase that I would want you to use is that the sun is the harbinger, H-A-R-B-I-N-G-E-R, harbinger as in the vehicle of positivity, the harbinger of positivity, and that is what the children on Venus lack. William's jealousy and deprivation leads to bullying, but in a sense Margot has also contributed to the bullying, because she also has a slightly superior attitude because of the fact that she is the only one who has known the sun, and that makes the other children that much more angry. And they also get the feeling that she looks down upon life on Venus. Perhaps that's the reason her parents, even though it will cost them a lot, have decided to relocate back to Earth the following year, the next year. She continues to be obsessed by the memories of the past to such an extent that she cannot enjoy the present. She's so obsessed with the past that she cannot enjoy the present. So it shows that she has very, very strong nostalgia, which prevents her from enjoying the present and the memories of the experience of the sun. Now, it's not just because Margot is privileged, not just because she's experienced the sun and the summer, she's also privileged because the parents seem wealthy enough to be able to withstand the losses of a few $1,000s and relocate to the earth only for the sake of their daughter Margot. So there is that element of jealousy also which is crept into this entire equation between Margot and the other children in her class. Now, how do the children, the theme of revenge is also one of the themes in this particular story. The theme of revenge is because they managed to deprive Margot of what she wanted the most, of place under the sun. The phrase that we use generally, oh, he has got his place under the sun. What does the phrase a place under the sun means? That he's in the limelight. He is someone who is getting accolades. They have prevented Margot from getting her place in the sun. So they have managed to extract revenge for all that they felt because of her by doing that, by pushing her and locking her up in the closet. Now, the important thing is, and this is something which is very important and I would request you to pay attention. Now, the sun has a very positive energy. As I said, it's a harbinger of positivity, and it has an immediately pleasurable effect, because the moment the children have been exposed to the sun for that period of life, they suddenly become more positive. They feel guilty about what they have done to Margot. They are so guilty that they are not even able to look up, right? They just quietly open the closet door and let her come out. They are feeling so guilty about what they have done. So it has created a positive impact. The sunlight, their exposure to sunlight, even for that limited amount of time, has created a positive impact on the children's personality. They are no longer petty and bully, but they are feeling guilty about what they have done to their classmate. So it seems to have physically revived the children, made them much more positive characters. The absence of sunlight had converted Venus into what we call an inhospitable wasteland of sorts. No greenery, but just thick foliage and vegetation which is of the color of ash and rubber. And it had also made the children cruel hearted. But now the same sunlight, by the children getting exposed to sunlight, they are now much more joyful. They are energized. They are full of positive energy. So from being rude and jealous, now they are much more positive in their life. But they also, now that they have been exposed to the sunlight, they also feel deprived, that they will have to wait for 7 more years before they can experience the same phenomena all over again. Which is why the girl wailed the moment she saw the first raindrop falling on her palm. But now that they have such a bright memory to think of, the normal day-to-day conditions of life on Venus seem unbearable. Now, just like Margot, even they will not be able to bear the life on Venus full of rain 24/7, 365 days of the year for 7 long years. So now they and Margot are on the same plane. They think alike. Earlier, Margot was on a different plane because she had experienced the sun. These children had no memories of the sun, but now they are all on the same plane. And perhaps because now they understand this emotional, they have a better understanding of what Margot went through. That's why they are able to relate to her better, right? So experiencing the sun has not only made them feel happy and healthy, but also given them the maturity, given them the understanding to realize what they had done and feel guilty about it. So that's how the importance of nature, of positive energy, has been emphasized by Ray Bradbury in this particular story, right? So so some of the things that you need to understand is that Margot's appearance details, which I asked you to underline. The description of Venus, again very, very important. The octopi, the inhospitable wasteland, the rubber and ash, the thick foliage, vegetation. Please underline all these keywords and ensure that you are able to use these keywords as part of your answer. Trust me, it will make the answer look, sound, read much better. Another question that will come is that how to describe that 1 hour of sunshine on Venus. Please ensure that you are able to remember all the keywords and be able to explain and put it in perspective as to the impact on the children, the impact of what happens after it starts raining again, and the transformation of the children as a result of their exposure of 1 hour to this sunlight. See, at the end of the day, it's a science fiction story. So it also talks about the notion of space travel, that people are relocated from Earth to Venus to set up civilization there. So it's almost like he's asking for a suspension of belief that we know that it's not possible, but he has created this lovely story to drive home a larger point about jealousy, about envy, about privilege, about guilt. Those kind of emotions Ray Bradbury has established by creating a piece of science fiction. And also the description of the sun. How important. I have gone through it in great detail as to what a harbinger of positive energy the sun is and the impact it has on the children. So just to go through it, we know about Margot, we know about William, the bully, the difference between Venus and Earth. I hope you will be able to understand that. The effect of sunlight as opposed to continuous rain for 7 years on the planet Venus. The influence of sun, extremely important. Please go through this video again in order to be able to understand and write down the key phrases, the key words, and all the explanation that I have given of the influence of the sun and the positive energy. Margot's description, extremely important. Please ensure that you know all the keywords, and the transformation that takes place in the personality of the children as a result of this exposure to the sun on Venus after the 7 years for that brief period of time. So that is all summer in a day, a very fascinating story, one of the very better stories as part of your syllabus. So do write in your comments if you still have any doubts, or if you want me to explain anything better, but I would assume that I've covered most of the points. So still, if you have anything to say, and do share this video if you would want more of your friends to be able to understand this particular story better. As I said in part 1 of this particular story, you could also look at the video. There are a few YouTube videos of films which have been made on All Summer in a Day. That would also give you an idea about what the author had really tried to do as part of writing this story. So that's it then on All Summer in a Day. As part of Study with Sudhir, we will be completing other stories and poems also. So keep tuning in to understand English literature better as part of the ICSE Class 10 syllabus. Thank you very much for watching.